So I am here at Spangler's Spring. Great story about Spangler's Spring, how Northerners and Southerners came here and they were both thirsty, and the farmer agreed to give water to both of them, and in a moment of community, in the middle of a battle where they're trying to kill each other, they sat down together and they had water. It's a great story. It's one little problem: it isn't true. Which leads me to talk about this book that I have with me. It's by Thomas Desjardins. I think that's how you pronounce his name. It is called These Honored Dead. This is an absolutely brilliant book. This should have won the Pulitzer. This is fantastic. I can't say enough good things about it. It's also the most aggravating book in the world, because half of the stories I've loved about Gettysburg, I found out I couldn't tell because they're not true, or they're not quite true, or we don't know. And it's funny, I was talking to somebody about this, and I'm going through this book. I'm like, oh, like this, I used to love this story. Hey, how can you not love a story about they're both sitting down there drinking water, this elemental human need? It's a beautiful story. Only problem is it's not true. And one person, when I was telling them that he's, another thing, he's talking about where a lot of these monuments, how they got placed, and we look at them with this religious specificity. This is where this happened. This is the spot. And then he's describing, people drinking mint juleps and going, it was around maybe this tree here. And this is where we have these things placed. But so somebody said, well, why do you read it then? And I said, well, because the truth matters. That's what this book is about. You should go to New Salem sometime. It's a town where Abraham Lincoln used to live, and so they've recreated back to when Franklin Roosevelt was president. He's coming up with excuses to reasons to give people money. He didn't just send everyone a check like they're doing during the pandemic. He created all these works programs, the New Deal. You all know this, and one of them was New Salem, and so you have all these houses along the way, and it's like, this house is Dr. So-and-so, and this is where the person was who was, the vet or whatever. And they found out they were wrong about some of these things. And so you've got all these explanations about why they're wrong. Now, I love that. Because who cares? It's Joe Blow, it's Joe Snow, it's Mary. We don't know these people. The truth matters. The truth matters. That's what those people are saying. They don't have to put a sign. None of us would know. They do it because the truth matters. And the thing about this book is, one of the things he shows is you never get to the truth. History is an argument without end. You never get the total truth. But you have to deal with history as an attempt to reach the truth. We should be humble when we look at our history. History isn't there for us to use on some cheap argument. History isn't there to stick on a meme. History is a vast and complicated thing. And thinking you know history is like thinking you know philosophy, or thinking you know medicine. There's always more to know, and you may be absolutely wrong, and you may be making a damn fool of yourself. And maybe I've said some things that people are going to email me and say, dude, you're so wrong about that. And I'm going to say thank you, unless you're just a nitwit and don't know what you're talking about. But if you do know what you're talking about, and believe me, it's entirely possible, because there are some amazing experts, a lot of them, about this battlefield. And somebody may email me and say, you know what, you said that's not true. And I'll look into it and they'll be right. And I will say thank you. Because the idea is trying to find the truth. This battlefield has so many different discussions that go along with it. People arguing about whether Meade really was a tool of Reynolds, or whether Meade was the person who came up with this idea. I'm going to tell you about one of the great controversies about Robert E. Lee. And I'm not sitting here telling you I know the answers to these. These are things I'm going to be studying for the rest of my life. And I may never reach the answer, and I may reach the wrong answer. And so you deal with history with attention and care, and you do it with a level of humbleness, because it's bigger than we are. And we're doing our best to grasp it. And we're doing our best to learn from it. So anyway, Thomas A. Desjardins, this is a great book about what history really is. Too many people think history is this thing that's set in stone and that's handed to us and that we know it 100%. And of course it isn't. And this is a wonderful story written by a guy who loves history and understands that it's a lifelong job to try to understand even one event.